Good morning, everyone. This is Mike O'Malley here with the severe weather outlook and discussion for December 13th, 2022, around 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We have a lot going on today, so jumping straight into everything, we have a risk for severe storms, generally speaking, today from about Dallas-Fort Worth all the way through about Mobile, Alabama, and through Memphis, Tennessee today, an enhanced risk stretching from eastern Texas through portions of Mississippi and Louisiana as a strong weather system moves eastward. Already got tornado warnings and tornado watches in effect for portions of these areas. As it currently stands, we're looking at the radar imagery with the overlay of the 10-meter winds and our tornado watches and severe weather warnings. Right now, we can see that, again, we have a tornado watch that is currently in effect for portions of the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area, all the way through portions of just near Shreveport, Louisiana, and to the south and west of Little Rock, Arkansas, as a line of storms moves eastward. Again, this is a line of storms. This is not a discrete mode. So embedded tornadoes will be a concern, but damaging straight line winds here, I do believe, are the main threats going through this afternoon. Looking at the instability here, this is a look at the mixed layer instability, mixed layer cape. We notice that we don't really have a lot of instability to the east of where these storms are currently tracking. And a large part of that is not only is this early morning, but also for the fact that we have widespread cloud cover across this region. And so instability is going to be slow to creep northward, although it certainly will throughout the day, especially across portions of Louisiana. But this might temper the overall severe weather threat as we head into this afternoon and evening, which will certainly be some good news for those areas. So what's driving this whole thing? Well, we can take a look here at the 500 millibar winds, and we notice this big stretch of purple colors. This indicates that we have over 100 knots of flow, or about 115 miles per hour of winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere, about 18,000 feet, pushing down on the back side of this trough, actually kind of on the front side of this trough, really. But at the base, you've got that accelerated wind flow, and now that's kind of creeping across portions of Texas and Oklahoma. This is what's driving the main cold front that is responsible for producing this line of storms now that is racing east of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex region. And then at the low levels of the atmosphere at about 850 millibars, or about 5,000 feet, we have a strengthening low-level jet that is kind of centered around Kansas City and Springfield. However, a portion of that low-level jet extends southward into the Dallas-Fort Worth area, producing roughly about 40 to 45 miles per hour worth of flow down there at the surface. And that surface wind is contributing, or that near surface wind rather, is contributing to enhanced curvature in the low levels on that photograph, and that is able to create also moisture responses pulling up from the Gulf of Mexico, pulling that moisture northward and helping to increase instability within a localized area. So now putting this all together, looking at the HRRR forecast, we're looking at the radar and mixed layer cape simulated here. We notice that over the next couple of hours, about the next 17 hours through this evening, we notice this line of storms moving eastward across the eastern half of the U.S. here, really the central and eastern part. And then we start to see where we get maybe some discrete elements trying to form across portions of southern Louisiana. And this might contribute to an enhanced tornado threat in this region. Most notably, though, this looks mainly like a damaging straight-line wind event. We could see strong wind gusts there upwards of 80 to 90 miles per hour in some of these storms. And then continuing forward into the day tomorrow and tomorrow evening, we notice that there is kind of two separate entities of storms here. We have a potential discrete storm element near Pensacola and across portions of southern Alabama tomorrow, and then a reinvigoration of the line of storms across portions of southern Louisiana. Eventually, this races off towards the east and northeast, and this is where we could see, again, yet another damaging wind and embedded supercell threat with these storms maybe even seeing the potential for some supercells out there across portions of Charleston Harbor and in the South Carolina area with some enhanced reflectivity values there. Certainly, there is a lot of shear for these storms to work with. Looking at the 0 to 3 kilometer SRH here, shear values will be elevated to quite high over the entire region for the next several days. And in fact, some of these values are literally off the charts here. But generally speaking, we should have the potential for some isolated supercells that could produce a strong tornado or two. Mainly, we're looking at today with the threat across portions of Louisiana. And then tomorrow, there is a threat for strong tornadoes across portions of the Gulf Coast states. And that slides eastward over the next day or so. So, looking at the day two convective outlook, we have an enhanced risk for severe storms generally from New Orleans all the way to south of Birmingham, Alabama. This includes places like Pensacola and Mobile, and a slight risk for Montgomery, Alabama, Jackson, Mississippi, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And then we start to see that shift on day three. We have a slight risk for severe storms from about Charleston, South Carolina, through Orlando, Florida, Tampa, Florida, Daytona Beach, and Jacksonville, with a marginal risk surrounding those areas.